remember how I was like, I think I need glasses. Well, I went to the like eye doctor to get tested. Man, that chart was hard to see.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Candace.
And welcome to Don't Start.
And as we like to say, don't start.
Candace, save it for the show.
Exactly. So let's get to it.
Okay, fantastic.
Our guest today is going to help me with the story that I'm about to tell you that I witnessed.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we'll talk about our guest in a second, but here is a great lead in. Here we go. So I'm at the store grocery shopping, and
I can already feel the discomfort in your voice.
I'm so uncomfortable because I've had this happen to me several times in different locations. And I'm sure all of us have witnessed this, which is the person in front of you, you're at line, checking out the grocery store, the baby, she has a toddler in her like cart. And I was alone. I was not with Maverick. So she did not know I felt her pain in some way. So she was just like mortally, just embarrassed that the toddler was not being good, like was throwing something on the floor and she had to go get it. Then the toddler starts kicking in the cart. Mm-hmm. Then the toddler's like, let me out, let me out, let me out. So she still has a ton of groceries to check out with. So she, of course, is like, doing what any person would do. She's like, let me take him out, let him like just hang by my leg and maybe he'll stop screaming because he was screaming. She takes him out, she puts him by her leg and now he starts running and she's trying to check out and he sprints, right? Because you're also like, I do the same thing. I'm like, what do I do? Do I take him out? Like you literally play Russian roulette in your brain. You're like, what's the better of the two odds here? And he just sprints around the store and he's screaming. He just didn't get his way, whatever it was. And the poor woman is like trying to check out her groceries. Yes, the cashier is helping her check out, but she still has more. She's not like, I'm paying and leaving. And then he does the thing, which, well, honestly, my soul dies. He does the tantrum where he throws himself on the floor. He's literally screaming. She's trying to get him up off the gross floor and she's so embarrassed. And I'm like, honey, I feel you because my mother in the olden days throws you over, because my sister used to have tantrums, throws you over her shoulder and she's like, we're leaving, and like runs. My mother. That's how my mother handled it. I don't know the right way, but this woman was dying. This also has happened to me several times with airports where I see a toddler having a tantrum or a child and they're rolling around the gross airport floor. And mine and Tom's inner OCD is like, get the kid off the floor. And I'm like, I don't know who to, like, you don't know who to blame. Is it the child? Is the mother? You're just like, oh my God, parenting, help,
literally,
help.
So I was flying during the chaos of flying this past weekend and on the way back, and it was easy, but right behind me there was the screaming toddler. And for me, I was actually able to fall asleep, and I was just, it's partly you feel for the parents, and then like you said, you're like, is it the parents' fault? It literally sounds, I told Chad, like they were just pinching him, like he was just screaming. And then in my mind I was like, maybe we just need to walk up and down the aisle. So anyway,
100%
questions we have.
These are so all right. So let's get to our guest. So our guest is Devon Kuntzman. Let me tell you, she is just rocking it.
Honey,
I'm gonna read you some of her bio. I just love it. I follow her on Instagram. She's freaking amazing. She's the founder of Transforming Toddlerhood and it's like the original toddler parenting coach on Instagram. That's what she is. Like, that's how I found her. Trusted by over 1 million parents and caregivers worldwide. She's on a mission to dispel the myth that toddlerhood is a terrible stage. You know how everyone does this. Terrible twos. And I had one mother say to me, wait till the threes. Yes. And I was like, oh God, does it get any better?
Baby Marky is 2-3. He just turned 3. And I'm like, I see it.
Is it bad?
I see it.
Bad? Oh boy.
Cute kid, man. And
I'm with you.
What a beauty.
Yeah, true. Honestly, that smile. And then so Devon, she empowers parents to confidently navigate the ups and downs of toddlerhood using positive and effective and developmentally appropriate tools to nurture and develop it and foster the connection, which I love. She has a degree in psychology focusing on child development. She's an ICF-certified coach, a certified gentle sleep coach, and a graduate of the Wonder Weeks Academy Infant Mental Health and Development Program. She's a freaking badass. She coaches parents and even managing an orphanage in Rwanda. She's so kick-ass. When she's not supporting, she literally says here that when she's not supporting parents, that she's like all about nature, travel, and holistic living, which I love. And she says, right, exactly. She says this thing where she's like, when I'm spending time with my little one or riding my bike or sipping my green juice, that's how I spend my time. And I'm probably doing it all at the same time, which is so true. Like we're all just juggling. She has a new book out, Transforming Toddlerhood. Oh, you can find her.
When does she have time for that?
Like, exactly. Like you got a kid and you're writing man.
I have to ask you before we bring her in. Do you remember advice that you use daily or one time that you used it in your real life that you got from her?
Yes, I that's actually a good question. she does talk about sleep. And that is huge for me, right? Like
Yeah.
if I don't get some sort of sleep, I'm a dysfunctional person. And what I mean by that is
Yes.
I make such poor decisions, like the
Yes.
poorest decisions. Like, and it's
Yes.
also like common sense decisions, or it's like, why would you do that, Candace? Like I turn on the hot water, I'm burning myself. I'm like, because I'm so tired. So she was just like, sleep priority, make sleep a priority, and don't force the kid to sleep. So I never forced Maverick. So I don't know if that's just naturally my child, or if it's something that
Yeah.
I got from her where you literally have your boundaries. It's gentle. It's not like leaving a kid in there screaming for hours sort of thing. And she can
Right.
dig into this more with us because I do think sleep is such a priority when you are trying to parent well. Someone said to me the other day, oh my God, I think parenting is easy. And like, I think I've talked to you this before, where
They have a nanny or like grandma or grandpa come over and help make it
I thought
easy.
of two things. I was like, one, maybe she has a full-time nanny. I don't know. The other
Yes.
thing I thought of was like, are you a shitty parent? Because like being a good parent is really fucking
Hard.
hard. And to answer your question, I should answer your question fully. Like, what did I exactly get from Devon about the whole sleep thing for us? She has this thing which makes me feel good, letting go of the idea of being the perfect parent pressure. Like that's the thing. Everyone's trying to be there's nothing. There is messy in the perfection. Like, and so she really hits
Yeah.
on that. So I'm really excited to bring her in.
You know, as an aunt, as a dog parent, and as possibly a future mother, I think the psychology of parenting is one of the most challenging things on the face of this planet.
It's your everyday life. Like it gives me so much patience as my normal Candace human, not mommy, just like being Candace, where I'm like, oh, Candace, right? What would you tell your freaking toddler right now? Like that I have these moments, right? So I'm able to parent myself, which is huge.
This is a good get, and I can't wait to talk to
Come
her.
on in, Devin.
Hi there. Good
How
morning.
are you?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing so good. Thank you for being with us today. We just had such a great intro to you. First of all, your bio is fantastic. I can't get over it.
Incredibly
It's so
impressive.
impressive. But Sarah and I just chatted about how a toddler was having a tantrum in not our toddlers or people we knew, but it was a toddler from some poor mom and trying to gain control. And I was like, we got to bring Devin in. This is the perfect moment to bring her in the room because how do you deal with that? But anyway, how are you? Thank you for being here.
I'm doing well, doing well. I had a busy day of I'm teaching 2 workshops and recording 3 podcasts today. So you're the first one. So you get my best. You get my best.
I love that. What's harder, negotiating with a toddler or doing 3 podcasts in one week?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. I think the podcast, I don't know. It depends. It depends on how tired I am.
So true.
That's literally what we just talked about. Some of the best advice you've given that Candace has found is sleep. Make sure you get your sleep and charge up.
Sleep.
So let's start at the beginning here. Well, not too far back, but let's just go with this. You have a background in child psychology, obviously. Was there a moment in your beginning of your career where you were like, I definitely know that the toddler stage is what I want to target? How did that all map out for you?
Yes. I always have loved young children. And I mean, I started babysitting maybe when I was like 12 or 13. So I've always loved young children. But I think it wasn't really until after college and I was working as a high profile nanny for families all over the world. And I really spent a lot of time with a lot of different toddlers. And I started to notice a pattern of where toddlers were trying to communicate something to their parents when their parents were around. And then there was a lot of misunderstanding of what toddlers were communicating. So, for example, like mom would come home from work after a long day, really like a female CEO. It's got a lot on her plate. So excited to see her 2-year-old who's in like the bath. And then all of a sudden, like we're in a 20-minute meltdown with this little one. And mom feeling like, ugh, why'd I even come home? I should have just stayed at work. This is like more of the same I've been dealing with all day, And really, this little one just was so excited to see their parent, but also needing to offload all of their emotions from the whole day and have that emotional poop, you could say. And so there's just a lot of misunderstanding happening. And I was like, oh, we need to talk more about this and what to do.
My God, I love what you're saying. First of all, I feel like your beginning part when you were like, I was a whole high profile nanny. And then I realized, because by the way, I used to do that and I
Oh,
loved children and loved babysitting, but I did not connect anything that you just said. But you're right. They all had the same thing. They used to cry when
yeah.
mom and dad would come home, like, because they
Mhm.
miss them. And it
Yes.
is hard to communicate with this little one, right? I have a
Mhm.
little one. He's 18 months. So I'm learning. God, Devon, I'm learning. I follow you on Instagram. I'm such a fan because I feel like I'm gonna need you. I'm gonna need you as we go. But it's refreshing to hear you say that you had that moment where you were like, I want to help this toddler and this parent
Mhm.
communicate because I don't think we know how.
Well, and that's the thing that I was going to say is this miscommunication of language that is not yet
Yeah.
developed. And how do you read and how do you understand the child? And that's where an expert like you comes in. And all the advice you can give us would be extraordinary of how you discovered it. And I was telling Candace, the other thing is with parents, there's so many different perspectives of what's right.
What is right? You taught me not to be a perfect parent.
Yes, we don't need to be a perfect parent. That is the number one thing that all parents need to know is that we don't have to do it perfectly. And I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves because we're like, oh, if we don't do it perfectly, we're going to like mess up our kid. Our kid's going to need therapy, all the
Yes.
things. And I mean, in the end, therapy is supportive for anyone and everyone,
Right.
it has nothing to do
Well
with
said.
whether quote unquote your parents mess you up or not. Therapy is just a great thing. So we
Yeah.
shouldn't like
Yes.
fear therapy, first of all. Yes.
Here's to that.
Cheers.
Second, though, just knowing that we're all human beings and trying to be perfect, we're putting this pressure on ourselves that is just not even possible, but we're also putting this pressure on our children. Like our children can't be perfect either. We're all human beings with feelings, emotions, and needs. Some days we're going to be tired, some days we're going to be sick, some days we're going to be hungry, and we're just not going to show up as our best. And there is nothing bad or wrong about that. So that is a concept that is really wild for parents at first because they have so much pressure sitting on their shoulders to maybe parent differently
Yeah.
from their past or to just show up in a way that they envision, but then they can't sustain it and they get really down on themselves when all of those moments that go sideways are all opportunities for learning and growth for you and your child if you just accept that opportunity.
There's so many common mistakes that us parents make in general, right? And especially when you're trying to set these limits for toddlers and babies and gets older. I have a niece that's 8 because she's going to be 8 and a nephew that's going to be 6 and same thing. I see my sister struggle with it. But like, do you have advice for parents that are trying to navigate how to correct that in general?
Because toddlers are going to be toddlers, right?
Oh,
Yes. So when we're in these moments where we just feel like things are going sideways and we don't know what to do. And we're like making these mistakes.
yes.
First, we just have to understand that all behavior is communication. Our behavior is communication and our kids' behavior is
Right.
communication. And so oftentimes our behavior is communicating that we're stressed out, we're exhausted, we're hungry, we haven't met any of
Yes.
our own basic needs in a long time. So,
It's true. Yep, I'm usually parenting on like a cup of coffee and like I don't know a half a crappy muffin that I ate 4 hours ago. And I was like,
right.
what
And
did I
then we're
do
like, oh
today?
wait, I just have low
Terrible.
blood sugar. Like I just need to eat something.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right. But that's also so much
True.
for our kids. But so for our children, what their behavior is communicating, especially young toddlers, is they're communicating things like their level of brain maturation, which they have very immature brains. They're communicating their lack of life experience because they have very little life experience. They're communicating their feelings and emotions, their lack of impulse control, their needs, their sensory needs, their basic needs, their physical needs, their developmental needs, like to feel capable to experiment and explore. So basically, all behavior can be traced back to these different things. And when we start to learn that our kids are not out to get us or just, trying to make our lives miserable on purpose, we can start getting curious about what's behind the behavior. And when you can get curious about what's behind it, that's how we can go to transform it. But the thing is, if we're too focused on our child having the perfect behavior or us having the perfect response, we're going to miss again the communication that's happening and not be able to decode our child's behavior to respond in a way that's going
Yes.
to transform it.
Yes.
The one thing that's interesting, and like you were saying, of promoting therapy, it's like how we react in general in life, right? When there are high stressful moments, especially with a toddler in a public setting, whether a plane, whether a grocery store, like we were talking about, it's hard to breathe and think like correctly, right? Because you're just like, you feel it. You feel flushed, you feel stressed, and you're like you're aware of everybody watching. Like, it's how do you take those moments and be proactive when it is a high stressful moment for both parties?
Yeah. So in my book that just came out, I talk a lot about what it means to be a safe parent. And so,
Oh,
because to be a safe parent, we want to create both physical safety
Mhm.
and emotional safety. And so, what I always say is in any of these moments, whether it's in public, at home, whatever's happening, we have to establish physical safety first. So, as long as your child is not about to like fall down, run into the street, like they're not like one step away from like a trip to the ER or something,
yes.
then you can tell, and then you're physically safe too. So say your child's trying to kick you, you've backed up, maybe you put a cushion in between the two of you, you're making sure everyone is just physically safe. You can say to yourself, this is not an emergency. I am safe. My child is safe. Because if you do not establish that baseline physical safety,
Right.
you're never going to disrupt your stress response. So your nervous system, your feelings and emotions are just going to keep snowballing, snowballing. And for better or for worse, emotions are contagious.
Mhm.
And our nervous system is like the attunement of the nervous system in the home. And again, we don't have to be perfect at it, but we need to know this. And so that's why we need to prioritize establishing the physical safety, saying this is not an emergency, calming ourselves down, grounding ourselves, establishing that emotional safety before we even address anything else. Because guess what? If everyone's safe, you can address whatever happened even an hour later. Who cares? Because it's better that you stayed a physically safe and an emotionally safe parent than addressing a behavior in that moment. That sense of urgency we
Right.
have is all part of the stress response. It's not real.
I
Right.
love what you're
Yeah.
saying, because oh God, I didn't grow up on that method. I love my mother,
Did
but I'm
not.
calling her out, man. I would love for you to give our listeners just some choice words. Because let me just give an example here. I again grew up on a parent that was watch where you're going, be careful. It was all endangered, like very scary words, right? So, like, I, as a new parent, am trying my best not to do that because I don't want him to think everything's scary. Like, I literally grew up thinking everything was scary at some point, or just high energy of like nerves, right? Everything was
Yeah.
911. And my husband literally says, your family dress rehearses the tragedy before the tragedy is even, I don't even know if the tragedy is going to happen, Candace. So my question to you is, are there choice words we can use, especially with toddlers and children when they're going through these like transitional stages, just to keep them safe, but not scare them? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So my husband grew up in a very similar household in terms of like watch out, be
No,
careful,
is he
like dress
Italian?
rehearsing the tragedy. He's actually French, but this is like the same
Yep,
like
yep.
this is exact way that he grew up. And so it took him a long time to realize it, and now he can see his mom doing it and he's like, now
Yes.
trying to like help her from spinning out. But
Mhm.
anyways, and now our son's in forest preschool. So you can imagine my husband and I have been married for 9 years. So he's had a long time to kind of like see this and kind of
Yes.
create some changes because I don't know if he could have handled my son being in forest school 9 years ago,
I
right?
love the idea of forest school, right? It's so grounding, right?
Yes, and he's out there in nature climbing
Love it.
things and having risky play. But with that risky play is like, be careful, watch out, don't
Yes,
do this. So what
yes.
do you say instead? So I have a whole chapter on this in my book where we talk about really helping kids become independent and supporting them in risky play because it's so important for their development. So you want to say things that help children learn. What we want to do is teach skills and create a growth mindset versus telling kids to watch out and like dimming their light to experiment and
Yeah.
explore. So we might say something like, "What's your plan?" Or if your child's climbing something, you might say, "Pay attention to where your feet are. Watch your feet. Oh, grip tightly." So
Yes.
basically, it's about giving your child the information they need to be successful. It's telling them what to do instead of what not to do, or just giving something vague. And this works in like all types of situations. It's not even
Yes.
about be careful. It's like, say your child is I don't know, running around like throwing their toys or something like this. Like they're just completely dysregulated, out of
Yes.
control, got the sillies, all the things. Instead of saying like, stop it, don't do that, what
Yeah.
you could say is something like, hey, here's a bin. Can you get it in here? Can you get it in
Yeah.
here? Like join them
Mm.
in their space, but then giving something to do and then say, let's see how many we can get in the bin. Now all of a sudden we're cleaning up and they don't even know it, you know?
Yeah.
So
Genius. I love that because the other day my son was sort of having, I call it shake the sillies out. He was like, and it's like closer to bedtime. So I'm like, let's shake him out, bud. And then my mom was over and she was like, no, 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 let's stay calm. I was like, the word no, 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 no. He didn't grasp it yet because we don't do the no yet. It's not a thing. I'm trying my best, but I love the idea of like, let's play along, but do something, constructive.
well, this is the power of connection. So, this
Right.
is how we create cooperation. We don't create cooperation from control, saying, no, 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 don't do this, don't do that, don't, giving orders. We
Right.
create that cooperation through connection. When you connect with your child and meet them where they're at, then now you have influence. And then you
Mhm.
start influencing your child. And now you guys are connecting and shaking out the sillies. And now your child's ready to hear what you have to say next, which might be, let's pick out two books. Which book do you want to
Yes.
read first? And now you've transitioned to the next thing, which is way easier than trying to get control trying to overpower your child or using fear or blame, shame, guilt, or judgment.
Looking at my brother and sister-in-law parent, the difference parenting different than my parents, not that saying one was right, was wrong. We were just talking about it, but different perspectives of the time, right? And as you and I talk, like Candace was giving an example of how her mother was speaking, it was different times of like it's still like that generation questioning therapy and all these things. Do you get pushback or of soft parenting from your parents? Like no matter what, there's always the transition of how our languages and our world changes, and therapy and psychology and raising children as part of it.
Yeah, it's true. And why this is so important to talk about is because in the last 20 years, we have so much more information we didn't have 20 years ago about child development. And that's why there's people like me out here helping disseminate
Yeah.
that information in ways that parents can grasp because research shows that it takes about 17 years for a new research concept to make it out of research into the real world.
Wow.
And I know, right? Like that's basically terrifying, especially when it comes to like medical research and things like that. Yes, I know it's terrifying. So it's so important. But the thing is this is why we've known this for the last 20 years or so, but this is still not widespread because not everyone has caught up in implementing it and understanding it. So yes, it's common to get pushback from older generations that are like, well, this is not how we did it.
Yeah.
And some people are open to learning. Some people take offense. Well, like, well, I guess I just did everything wrong then,
Right.
like I guess I just raised you wrong. Everyone wants to do their best and everyone is doing their best, but it's kind of this idea is as the information evolves, we get to evolve our skills, but that does really make us have to learn basically like a new language at the same time. And it can be challenging, but quite frankly with my parents, I was like talking to my parents a lot before I had a kid because I work in this field, right? So I'm having these conversations way in advance. I bought them books when I got pregnant. I was like, you should just read these. I
Yeah.
just was like, because it's the work I do every day, right? Like most parents aren't thinking about this. But what's so funny is now I'm the one that's trying to tell my parents, like, you need to stop being so permissive. They're like, oh, we just let them have ice
Oh,
cream. We let them watch
so
this on the phone. I'm like, you
grandparents
guys, I'm
love
like, we
that,
don't do that
right?
here.
It's so funny because I do think the grandparents come in, you do all the training, and then the grandparents are, I'm an aunt, come in, and you're like,
You're
wait,
right.
wait, wait, that's not the language we use here in this household, right? We don't eat the candy. I went to my grandmother's and I chopped my hair when I was younger, and
Right.
I would go there for the sugary candy. You know what I mean? It
Right.
wasn't in my household. Grandparents,
Right.
we're coming for
Grandparents.
you.
I love it. Let's transition into the sleep talk real quick because I was telling Sarah the one thing, well, there was many things that, I got scared about with being a parent, but I definitely knew, and I knew this about my husband. If we didn't sleep, that child was going to be raised in chaos because I make terrible, terrible decisions when I'm tired. And gentle sleep parenting is such a concept that I think you handle really well. And I'd love you to share your concept on it. But my friends and family, I do have some, people who have children that were like, let them cry it out in the crib.
Yeah.
They'll eventually fall asleep. And I'm like, he's supposed to scream for 10 hours? Like I didn't know. Oh, don't put him in your bed. So what are some tips, tricks? What are you thinking in regard to gentle sleep parenting here?
Yes. So it's so important to understand that you have to know your specific child. Like I had a child that was very highly sensitive. Their nervous system was really revved up and really sound sensitive. Like if I would have done cry it out with him, I mean, he could have gone on and on and on because he actually needed a lot of motion and a lot of sensory input to feel regulated to be able to sleep. So first thing I want to say is you need to know your individual child and their needs. The second thing I want to say is that it's really hard for kids to separate from us at night. And think we like typically like sleep with someone, like we have a partner that we're like share a bed with, but then we're saying, sorry, 2-year-old, you just need to sleep by yourself. Like kids are like, hey, hi, why am I sleeping? And like, they're smart. They're like, why am I sleeping in here by myself?
Yes.
So it's hard for them to separate. So I just want to say that when it comes to bedtime, this is not your child being bad. This is your child having trouble separating. So you can meet your child's needs within your boundaries. You can still take care of their feelings and emotions while setting clear limits, like this is the last book, this is the last kiss, this is the last hug, whatever. Still be taking care of their feelings and emotions. Now, when you set that limit, your child's going to freak out. They're going to get upset. They're going to cry. That doesn't mean you did anything wrong or they did anything wrong. They're trying to accept the limit. And this goes for any time you set a limit, but especially, around sleep, we can feel like, oh no, what did I do? Now they're upset. We start second ourselves, but all you have to do is uphold the limit while still holding space for the feelings and emotions. And then you can start just gently kind of scaffolding their skill and having less of you there. Right. So you can start backing up a little bit.
Yes.
So maybe you're like sitting beside your child's bed. Now you're sitting in the middle of the room. Now you're sitting in the hallway.
Yes.
And it's okay to set those limits, and it's okay for your child to not like the limits. But the difference is that you're there to say, I know you don't like this. I'm here to help.
Right.
But you still uphold the limit. And I think that's the biggest challenge parents have in general today is setting limits and following through on them, because when their child has a big reaction, they think they did something wrong.
Yes.
But that's just your child trying to accept the limit.
I love just by the way of thinking, accept the limit, right? Like even as a human, that actually goes, a lot of this is the foundation for being a well-adjusted human in this world. But yeah, a child accepting the limit, I think, is really difficult because they do lash out. They start screaming and then you go, forget it. Let's start over. And then we just, ruined everything and we have to start over.
I have to ask about what you feel about we're in the technology era and a lot of people are using that as a crutch. I want to know what your belief is on that.
Yeah. So I think that because we are in a technology era, there is technology around. We're bombarded with it, quite frankly. And so what's so important is to really look at your unique child and what does it mean to create healthy relationships for your child and your family with technology. That's going to look different for every family, but definitely the amount of time that we spend scrolling on our phones definitely informs kids about technology as well. So it's also something for us to be mindful of. But what we really want to take a look at here is if your child's watching a screen, what is your child not doing because of the screen? So is that preventing your child from like feeling boredom and like coming up with like their own creative play? Is it preventing your child from being outside? Is it preventing your child from fully feeling their feelings and emotions because we gave them a screen so they wouldn't have a tantrum? Or is it like your child all of a sudden is 9 months or 12 months and they don't want to lay down for a diaper change anymore, so we give them a phone because they'll stay put if we give them the phone, but really their desire to not stay put is because they're growing up and they're ready for the next phase, which is becoming more of an active participant in their pottying, and they don't want to lay down and have their diaper changed anymore. So are we missing the sign that they're ready to move on to like the beginnings of like potty learning?
Oh,
Right.
that's
And
where
so we
I'm
just
at.
need to think
Oof.
about this stuff. Yeah.
Oh my
Right.
God. How do you know the signs? I was like, how do
Devin,
I know he's ready? I don't know. Oh my
Devin,
gosh.
what I found was profound in what you just said that I think in development is how it stops them from regulating their emotions and
Right.
evolving because I think that was just really a big moment where you're like the evolution, the change, you growing up, and we're handing a phone in these moments where they could be feeling all of these emotions. So it's sort of like it's blocking. And honestly, I think that's somewhat scary.
No, Sarah, what just clicked for me was when she said, your child is bored. And then they have
Oh,
to
I
figure out what to do with the boredom. Cause I was
play
like,
make believe, music,
yes,
sing. We would do
all
dances,
those
all the
things.
things that we did. And I think this is us, children of the '80s that are like, go to the park, hold on to nature. Like what made us pure, like the joy, like go out and run around with the kids, in the
Oh my
neighborhood,
God. Yes.
and not play games, connect with others. What important growth
Yeah, you're
that
so
some
right,
children are
Devin.
missing out on.
Oh my God. And Devin, I do have to ask this, and this is just me being completely selfish here. What are the signs of a toddler ready for potty training? What do I do?
Well, it so when you have a child between 12 months and I don't know 20 months, you're going to see them start getting really
Yes.
interested in like the bathroom and the
Yes.
potty. Like they're going to be interested in what you're
Yes.
doing, and they're also going to start fighting diaper
Yes.
changes. To me, when a child starts fighting diaper changes, it's time to move to the next step. And for me, the next step, which is starting to inform what's to come, because remember, potty training is really about learning a series of skills that build on each other. So your child goes from being a passive bystander to an active participant. Is changing your child standing up in the bathroom. Get rid of the diaper changing stations. Put a little basket of diapers and stuff in the bathroom. Let your child hold on to like the bathtub, or put like a busy board on the wall. Let them hold on to that, play with it, change their diaper. If you're and so that then they can practice pushing down their pants. They can practice pulling up their pants. Your child's not going to stop having accidents when you potty train them if they can't get their pants down on
Valid
their own. So we
point.
have to start preparing them. So now we're sending the message. Potting happens in the bathroom. Here's a skill we're learning: pulling down, pushing down our pants, pulling them back up. They can undo the tabs of their diaper. They even could like wipe themselves with if they just go pee, with a wipe. Now
Yes.
you're like, okay, now what about a dirty diaper? Like, come on, are we gonna have poop everywhere? What I want to say is there's two things you can do. The first thing is you can have your child do downward facing dog pose, and then you can easily clean them up. Or you can have them sit on the potty on like the toilet with a seat reducer and lean forward and like hold their knees, and then you can wipe them. And this is also great because now you're wiping them and then they're flushing the toilet, you're moving on. So you're really laying the groundwork. So it's not a far leap whenever the day comes that you say, okay, now we're done with diapers, we're pottying in the potty. That day you gather up all the diapers and get rid of them, it's not going to be a far stretch because you've already started laying the groundwork to that you're starting to already connect the dots for your child and starting to learn the
Oh my
skills they
God,
need.
that's genius. I never thought of it that way. I have a friend of mine who was like, I did the 3 day method where my kid walked around naked for 3 days and peed everywhere. And I was like,
Right.
I have no idea what this is.
I've heard of
But
that.
I definitely know my OCD husband is not going to be okay with this. Like, we can't do this. I love the idea of sort of in
Yeah.
phases. That's really, really great.
Introducing
I'm
it.
going to try it.
Yes. So then, whenever you finally take away that diaper, and maybe they do walk around without a diaper the first couple of days, or they just have like, pants, it's not going to seem like a completely foreign concept. There'll still be accidents, but I guarantee there won't be as many because you've already started laying the groundwork. You've already started to help them become an active participant.
My question to you is I've been hearing from a lot of now at work, the fathers that now have the 13-year-old daughters. Do you ever study the growth from toddler through all the different ages? Because teenagers, that's when you hear the parents' next level. It goes from the terrible twos to the I don't know what
It's so true. You're right.
13s.
You're right. I mean, Devon's got toddler stage down
Right.
pat. Devon, are you going to help us in teenager land?
Yes.
Maybe, but what's so funny is that the teen years are the second toddlerhood, right? Because a lot of the same things are happening. In the toddlerhood, your child is trying to become an individual for the very first time. And also their brains are going through a big growth and development and reorganization. Same thing in the teen years. They're trying to become an individual again. And their brains are going through a massive reorganization as well. And so that's why both time periods are can be so challenging. But in the teen years, then you add hormones on top of it.
Oh my God.
And how do you find the time to do all this on social media, to write a book, plus be this incredible expert and a parent? Like, it's really impressive, and your brain.
How are you doing this?
So smart, and it's wonderful to hear and talk to you.
Thanks. I sometimes I don't know how I'm doing it, but I ask for a lot of support. I'm not shy about asking for help, asking for support. So my husband has supported a lot. My mother-in-law right now, she's currently here from France for 5 weeks helping us. And so, I just I'm not shy about asking for help.
You know what, though? That's a very healthy thing. I love that you say you're not shy, because I think we feel in any way, whether we have a child, whether it's about, financials, but asking for help is so important, right? I'm going to use that more, because sometimes my husband always makes this joke. He's like, are you also going to fly the plane, Candace? And it's not a compliment. He's literally like, stop, because you're doing things at 70% when you could do them at 100 if you just ask for help. So I love that you say that. It makes me feel good that you're giving me permission. But your new book is out. It's Transforming Toddlerhood. It is this guide for ages 1 through 5 of how to handle tantrums and those power struggles, and to raise resilient kids without losing your mind. Because I feel like we're all losing our minds in some way when we're dealing with these ages. I'm going to go out and get this book, because I'm so excited that there's something out there, a guide, because I do think we're scrolling social media. Sarah and I talk about this all the time. We're scrolling social media to find the answer, right?
Yeah, but she is a powerful presence online as well as Transforming Toddlerhood. And that's where you found her, which
that is where I found her.
That's the stuff that Candace and I get really excited about. When you're scrolling and then you find somebody that's, has a strong message out there. And so thank you for being that for so many parents.
Oh, thank you so much. But this is exactly why I wrote my book, is because I have so many DMs of do you have a post on this? Do you have a post on that? And I realized that parents were spending so much time scrolling to find an answer where it's nearly impossible to find. And so that's why I basically created the first quick reference guide for toddlerhood. So it's kind of like the what to expect for ages 1 to 5, where it's 45 short chapters. So you just flip to the challenge you're having, setting limits, discipline, unsupportive parenting partner, you feel like yelling, parental preference, separation anxiety. You choose the chapter that you need when you need it. You read it. You don't have to read the book from cover to cover. You just go find the answer you need in the moment when you need it.
Oh my God,
Can I ask one more question, Devon?
I love her.
My favorite descriptions that you have for the book is raise resilient kids. Resilience is one of those keywords for me in life in general. How did you land on that description?
Yes, because the common thread throughout this entire book is the idea that we're all human and we're not going to be perfect. And so we have to use these moments for opportunities and growth. And then also, whenever we focus on teaching skills and helping children have the support and skills they need to be successful instead of punishing behaviors, that's how we're raising resilient kids. Whenever we allow them to be seen and heard, whenever we teach them the skills that they need instead of punishing them for a lack of skills, when we're supporting them and cultivating a growth mindset, whenever we realize that it's okay to be human and make mistakes, all of these little pieces add up to that resilience.
Oh God, Devon, I love you. Honestly, thank you. You are now officially a friend of the Don't Start podcast. You're like one of our experts. Done. I've signed you up.
We'll be DMing for questions.
Seriously. But we're going to be promoting the hell out of this episode, your book. You can find Devon everywhere, but also social media at Transforming Toddlerhood. Thank you. Love to your husband, your son. I love that your mother-in-law is with you for 5 weeks. That's amazing.
Yes.
So she's got a ton of interviews today. I'm so glad we snagged you.
Yes. Thank you, Devon.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Good luck with all your work today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Devon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Her mind was brilliant and wonderful, and but she's really calm. And the thing that I when I went to the shaman, I'm bringing up, our emotion will regulate like we're still cave people, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so as a parent, you're thinking about protection and like panic. So I'm sure you have animalistic physical reactions as a mother. That is part of you. I can't like.
Let me tell you, you're hitting a point here that I have to just say. I am not I'm aggressive, but not an aggressive person that you would think. Like, for instance, when my son kicked me in the throat because he just didn't want to have his diaper changed, he didn't mean to get to my throat. Yes. But his legs were flailing and it got right in my throat. It actually really hurt that I was like, I lost my breath.
Yes, this is what
and then I thought to myself, Tom says the thing from the other room. He was like, watch the money. Yes, I'm like, stop it with the dramatics. But when he kicked me in the throat, I literally had a physical reaction where I was like, wow, I am a very patient person. I could blow up right now. Like, my instinct wanted to be like, whoop, and just take a pillow and hold him down with his knees, because like she said, put a pillow between you guys, because he's kicking like a crazy person. So he wasn't mad. He was just having fun or whatever it was, got me right in my throat. So I do think that it is really, really hard to regulate our emotions. And then once we get them regulated, we can then sort of have the discussion. But some people don't get to that point. They just spit out words now in the high state of panic.
Right. And that's the hardest thing, right? Because I'm talking to everybody out there. Oh, as I don't even have my microphone because I'm just flailing with my arms. You're working. You're making sure food's on the table. You're not getting sleep. You're making sure they do homework. It doesn't have to be toddlers, but I'm saying like, and what are you doing to fill your cup and to make sure your partner's okay? I think being a parent, I admire all of the people out there doing it, but it is exhausting. It's stressful. There's a lot of pressure. And how do you find the time to give yourself grace and say, I'm not perfect, right? It's one of the most challenging things in life.
It is very challenging. And it's also a mirror about yourself, because I'm like, oh, whoa, Candace, that's how you gotta handle it. And I'm like, that is a big check-in on me. So it's about parenting, but it's really about parenting yourself. And that's what I love, how she was able, like Katie just said. Katie, say it again. She was easily digestible.
It's easily digestible. The language, which also goes back to the idea that it's all about communication. Like, where do we find the problems in any relationship? It's usually the root is communication.
Because that's what you said. It's self-reflection. And so how many people want to self-reflect about how they react? And like I said, you're just exhausted.
And I'm telling you, I did a lot of self-reflection before having a child, because I struggled with such female physical health that I kept self-reflecting, going, what did I do wrong? That's such a Catholic guilt thing. So I was like, how do I change this? How do I change this? And then when you become the parent and it happens, you're like, oh, wow, I would have done this. Let me readjust and think. But I just love, like you said, easy, digestible. We can understand it. It's not all big medical terms and scary. It's like, okay, get a busy board in the bathroom, start to change his diaper in the bathroom. I was like, that's genius.
She even has such a soothing tone. Her whole aura and energy is so calming and grounded.
Her energy was wonderful. Yes, I couldn't agree more. But I think Candace and I were like, that's exactly what you and I were saying. And like, I wanted to reiterate, it was not my household growing up. So me as a person, I'm now trying to regulate myself as being not as reactive and not as the high tension, but that's just how the energy was. And moving forward, it's like, Sarah's going to dance. She's going to soccer. She has so much energy. So put her in everything. And honestly, as an adult, I'm trying to do some of the opposite.
It's true. There was a lot of screaming in my house, and we weren't yelling at each other. It was just like, get this, go to here. And it was just that energy of like a little bit of anger, but more like 911. We just got to go. We got to go. We got to go.
Two Marks in my household. So it was Mark Jr. and my dad, Mark. And my mother would scream and neither would answer. So she'd keep screaming.
I mean, it would sometimes be called the dog's name. Yeah. But I didn't have that type of household. My mom was definitely, I guess it was like the academician, like the teacher in her.
No, there was screaming in my household. I feel like Katie came from a much more calmer, grounded household. So we came from the East Coast screaming households. With my mother was like, Ken, Cal, Whitney, what's your name? And it was like everyone was yelling.
Katie, I also was the dog at times with grandma. I was called, but that's
her sister. I was Patty a lot. My Aunt Patty.
Yes, I was Aunt Leah. I was Leah too from my dad. Here's the thing
So
is
great.
everybody's trying their damnedest, right? And but I do think the number one thing from all of it is we got to work on ourselves to be better for others.
Every damn
communication
day,
is
every
key.
damn. What's your happiness? Let's shout a happiness
shout
out.
it out. Oh, Chad
well,
said
again,
it's ladle season last night in the household.
Ooh, soup.
Is it ladle season? I guess so. Soup it out. That is happiness right there. You're gonna make a good soup.
You think about people doing like the slow cookers. He comes home from work and he had made a lemon chicken orzo soup, and it was like
Can he come here?
And bright. And I said it was effervescent, and he said, That's not the right word. I said, okay, fine.
That's a beautiful word.
It's how it made you feel, Sarah.
I was bubbling over with joy. That was a happiness.
I love it. That is a happiness. Do I have a happiness besides the fact that she just gave me some potty tips?
Great.
That's
like
a real
being
happiness.
Proactive, being ahead of it, and giving them the ability to feel like they're discovering it on their own rather than being thrust. Right.
That's really interesting.
There's a lot of pride.
Oh,
check me out. Look at me doing what mom and dad do.
So much pride. Actually, I do have a little bit of happiness. I did the thing that one of our guests from a few episodes ago, Bell back. No, we'll get to that. No, Sarah, that will be an entire episode. Candace gets Botox for the first time. But I did clean out my closet because now we're heading into winter. Belle would be so proud. We can tell Belle. And I started throwing some shit out that did not bring me joy. Well, the things that were like ripped or stained, I threw because I don't think that's nice. Then I gathered 2 garbage bags full and I was like, done. And so I donated. I brought some to the Salvation Army. I brought some. There's also a clothing drive by me that we did that. And I felt like, first of all, I just felt good that it was going to someone because it was sitting in my closet staring at me. And I gave up the idea that the size 3 jeans, why do I own a size 3? I haven't been in that in 5 years. 6 years?
No, it doesn't make you feel good. It doesn't make you feel good.
And if you're a 3 again, you'll buy some more.
Yeah, it'll be a different style.
Do we think I will be?
Do you want to be a 3 again?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, because I think I was starving in those moments. Those jeans made me hungry. I was like, yeah, no, they gotta go.
I didn't even know there was a size 3. So there you go.
Those jeans made me hungry. Katie, what's your happiness?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was going to say, to piggyback on the potty training thing, I discovered, I know, just bear with me. Watching an ad on TV, it was a pull-ups ad, and there's 2 little animated characters, and I found out they have names. Their names are Turd and Urine.
Actually, that should be the joy for the week.
Turd and there's a graphic that I will send, and I will look at it and laugh. It makes me so. I was like, what was the writer's room? What was the pitch?
Oh, I always think.
How did this
I
happen?
actually like that one, but there's sometimes I'm like, who pitched this? What are your thoughts on Coca-Cola doing AI for their Christmas? We don't have to start. About it.
Oh, don't start.
Don't start.
Thanks for joining us today.
You can follow us on Instagram at Don't Start Podcast.
Or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And we'll see you next time, friends.
Don't Start is produced by Anthony Street Productions.